All right, everybody, we are back again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. And I have the good brother on with us, Brother Dave Anderson, who was on with us last week. And I know a lot of you guys were requesting Brother Anderson to come back on. I'm thankful to have him back on with us this Sunday. And today the topic is without Black entrepreneurship, there's no Black economy. I know a lot of times we speak on in regards to Black America having I don't know, the sixth or seventh largest economy in the world as far as $1 trillion spending power. But we're not seeing the benefits of that really in the Black community because obviously that money is not circulating within the Black community. And a lot of that has to do with a lack of Black ownership and a lack of Black entrepreneurship. So we're going to really unpackage this and break it down and really speak on how by just having Black entrepreneurship, putting an emphasis on that and circulating Black dollars within the Black community, how much of the impact that can have on the Black community in regards to job creation. They say there's a correlation between, I guess, crime and lack of jobs. So obviously that would turn. So, Brother Anderson, thank you so much for joining us again.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. And make sure you want to hear me, okay?
Yeah, we hear you fine. If there's any issues, I'm pretty sure they'll say something in the chat room as well.
All right, excellent. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks so much for having me back. I do appreciate it. I love popular demand. It makes me feel like I do something right. Um, a couple of things I want to address.
Go ahead.
First, where is the Black community? Like when we say that phrase, what does that mean? Because when you look at it, especially when you talk about America, when people talk about the Black community, the first thing they want to talk about is the hood.
You're right.
And I'm so sorry to have to break this to you, but all of us ain't from the hood. And even
Correct.
those who are from the hood, like we have such a romantic, relationship with the hood, which is something that was created by someone who wasn't like us. Ghettos weren't created for Black people. They created originally for Jewish people, and then Black people found their ways into them because, well, it helped white supremacy. So we need to be very careful as to what we consider a community, because if you're talking like when I think of a community, I think of a place where there are people who know each other, do business with each other, live amongst each other, um, peacefully for the most part. And there is a group think type of mentality. There is an all hands in, all excuses out mentality, and I don't really see that in what we call the so-called Black community. What I see is we look for, one or two people to represent us, and then everybody else will just sit back on Twitter and Facebook, and just use their thumbs to voice their displeasure or agreement. And I think that that's where the problem really starts. Secondly, when you don't control your narrative, I feel like I'm about to go on a run, so I apologize in
No,
advance.
please. Platform is yours, brother.
When you don't control your narrative, you allow other people to control you. Here's what I mean. I've said this before. You go and you'll stand in line for Jordans. And at the rate of sounding, at the risk of sounding like Bill Cosby 10 years ago, you'll stand in line for Jordans. I mean, even Chris Brown says, you like Jordans on a Saturday. I got to have you and I cannot wait. That's a problem. When you know good and well, what's happening, and you know good and well that you're being manipulated, and yet and still you allow your conditioning to overpower your goodwill, your common sense, and your acquired knowledge, we have some issues. So when people also talk about these numbers of what Black people are doing in the Black community, we need to be careful because those numbers don't always reflect actuality. Here's what I mean. Yes, we'll have $1.4 trillion in buying power, but that's the stuff we spend on. That doesn't talk about our bills.
Right.
That doesn't talk about our cost of living. That doesn't talk about, tuitions that might have to be paid, or, hair that might have to be done or cut, or, just basic maintenance. That doesn't account for the toothpaste or the soap, or, any of those things that are necessary for living. But it just looks like a ridiculous number, as if to say that Black people don't know anything to do with their money. And that's not true either. But what I will say is Black people are so sick in the head that we will allow ourselves to stand in a line at a Walmart when there's 36 lines that should be available, but no one's working those lines, and we'll take that abuse. We'll never walk out of a Walmart and say, you know what, that's the last time I'm dealing with a white-owned business. But let there be a spot on the fork in a Jamaican spot.
Mm.
Oh, I can't mess with black
Oh
businesses.
man.
That's why this, that, and the third. Then, I'll give you some examples. There's certain things that I had to stop doing, Dynast.
Go ahead.
And this is going to sound really hurtful and it's going to sound really disrespectful. So I apologize in advance, but my truth is my truth, and I don't back down from it from nobody.
It's all good, brother.
I can't deal with nickel and dime people anymore.
Mhm.
And when I say that, I mean 90% of my clients are black. So when I say I don't deal with nickel and dime people, I mean I'm not dealing with the people like I can't do the bleeding heart thing anymore because I'll give you an example. I had someone, right? She, had
Mhm.
this e-commerce business. She was getting a little traction, and I go to, try to help her with her situation. I'm like, listen, I need you to get me your logo. I need it to be 300 DPI, no background, so that I can plug it in, to your website and help you build out an e-commerce website that's popping. And she's like, well, when can I expect? That's about 3 weeks or so. Give me some time. I got some things to do. I'm doing this as like just a little side project. So I'm
Right.
trying to help a sister out, right? And so, I got caught up in Silicon Valley. I let her know, like, look, I'm caught up. I'll do this, that, and the third. So every day is, yo, is my website done yet? Is my website done yet? And then I'm like, no, I'm in Silicon Valley. Let me get off the plane. Let me get working on it. Hey, did you send me a logo? So she sends me these logos. They look like clip art.
Mm.
For those of you who don't know what clip art is, it's stuff that used to come on your computer that you could just pull down like
Right.
anybody made
Generic.
it.
Yeah.
Very generic, very grainy. And I'm like, yo, sis, like, nah. And I said, listen, now when it comes to this, I said, yeah, I'm doing you a $2,500 website for like $300 because I know how much of a struggle it is. But in order for your maintenance, like this ain't going to me, this is going to the actual hosting company. For the volume of what it is, you're going to need to pay $37 a month. $37 a month. Sound like Chris Rock. Good Lord, that's a lot of money. And this is why I would have done it myself and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I've seen your website. You can't do it yourself. I feel like you giving me the runaround. I'm like, I'm giving you the runaround for $300. Have you used your Googles? Like, I'm not going to be funny. I'm not the dude who's like, do you know who I am? But like, sis, seriously? I'm running away from you for $300. Really? Dog, I spent $300 on lunch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
man, go. So for me, and just as a rule, in order to protect my space, I can't deal with that mentality. And that mentality permeates. We beg for what we need, and then we buy what we want.
Right.
And to me that's problematic, and I know that there's somebody right now saying, well, not that's not me, I don't do that. Then I ain't talking about you. I'm speaking generally, and generally, it's true, because if it wasn't true, we wouldn't be having a conversation about the black economy. The end.
The end. The end. Brother, let me ask you this. I know you were
Sure.
very vocal in regards to the Starbucks situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know in the past, people who have experienced some type of police, will say, discrimination or brutality, have taken payouts.
Mm-hmm.
The black community has supported them and backed them. And a lot of times that money is not circulated into the black community. Now with the brothers in Starbucks, they took, I guess, $100, and then 200,000 is going to go into some type of community programs.
Yeah.
What are
So
your
what
thoughts on
happened
that?
was they took $2, $1 each from
Uh-huh.
the city, and then they asked for $200,000 to create a program for entrepreneurship. I'm like, but I got one that's called Black Boys Win. There's a bunch of other programs that are already set up here for young black youth. But see, the problem with those two brothers, and I call this the second they showed up on Good Morning America, they were really all lives matter. This isn't a black problem. This is an everybody problem, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Like when you start towing that line, I don't trust. See, there's a movie called The Dark Knight where Heath Ledger plays the Joker, and he talks about, see, I can always tell the squealers,
Hmm.
and he's one right there. He's a problem. There's those people who, like, when you start talking people of color around me, and you black,
Right.
I can't. I just no. You're not with me. I don't know what you are. You know what I'm saying? You're an outlier, and that's another thing that we do very, very wrong. We don't discard our trash. We embrace our trash. We celebrate and love our trash, and then we totally shame anyone who is intelligent. We totally shame anyone who's the quote unquote the talented tenth, because, oh, you left the hood. Why would I stay in the hood? I can't help you if I'm in. I can't help you get out of jail if I'm in jail with you.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do anything for you. If I just sat around trying to keep it real to impress your ass, then how am I benefiting our people? You know what I'm saying? So, those two brothers, to me, man, like, I felt like they were real poster child ish. I felt like what they wanted was ridiculous. I felt like they really should have, gotten some money and really done something to build up the community, because it wasn't people of color who got got 6 cops called on them. It was 2 black men.
Right.
And we got to stop acting like everybody's in our struggle. Everybody's not in our struggle. Our struggle is the most unique struggle on the planet. And until we stop looking for everybody else to participate in it so that we don't offend anybody, well, then we're going to keep having those issues. You never hear Jewish people apologize for stuff.
Right.
They take care of their own. There is a district. They've got delis, they've got jewelry, they've got Hollywood. What do we got?
We got the barbershop.
Yeah, but do we? Here's what I mean about the barbershop. Perfect example. Great segue. The barbershop is so stupid and archaic that the barbershop very rarely, if at all, takes credit cards in a cashless society. Explain that. I'll wait.
They don't want to.
And I told you last time.
They want to hide the taxes. They don't want to pay taxes.
Yo, I don't want to pay taxes either. I report taxes. I don't pay them.
Right.
Maybe you don't know your deductions because, wait, like I said last time, you don't read the tax code. And I told you last time, black people are so caught up in tradition. That's why we're so far behind on everything. By all means, embrace your traditions, not the man-made ones they told you were your traditions, but don't be so traditional that you forget to innovate. You realize you would make more money if you just took credit cards than you would if you didn't, because people are going to be more inclined to tip more because they're not seeing it. They're going to save money because they're not wasting money on extra gas over the course of a year. You'll probably see the barbershop 26 times out of the year.
Right.
20 to 26 times, so every 2.5 to 3 weeks out of the year. You'll also save money on somebody having to break some money by going to another business that isn't, in order to break. So it comes down to a lack of innovation. Everybody else, even hair salons, takes credit cards, but somehow it just didn't make it to the barbershop. Oh, but we can be ourselves in the barbershop. We can talk about issues in the barbershop. And what has that done?
Right.
Really?
Because it's to the point now where I just want to get in and get out when I get to the barbershop.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for the talking. I want to get in and get out.
Right.
Get
like what we talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one time I had to tell some folks in the barbershop because they was like, well, the African American. I said, well, I don't know about the African American community. I'm black.
Right.
And they said, well, no, you African. I said, oh, really? How many parts of Africa have you been to? Well, I haven't gone to. Well, I've been to motherland at least 2-3 times. So, you're talking to me about how black I am and how I don't know my African roots, but you don't even have a passport. You've never been on a continent.
Fact.
You can't tell me shit. And I said, let me break this down for you because you're ignorant and you don't realize that label didn't come from you. See, the term African American in and of itself tries to indicatively include everybody in the same ballpark. And what winds up happening is you have people who are African Americans who are claiming the benefits of being an African American from the government, but they don't have a drop of African blood in them.
Right.
Like, for example, one of the most famous African Americans I know is Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Argue me.
I can't. She's from South Africa. So technically she's
the end. She's African American. Thank you. So, no, I'm black. And I'm sick of black people being ashamed to say black. I'm sick of people of color. I'm sick of African American. I'm sick of displaced African natives. Like, stop. You black. You are black. Now Barack Obama, he's African American.
Right.
His kids are black, but he's African American. His wife is from the South Side of Chicago. She's descended from slaves. Obama ain't got one slave in his lineage. Hate to break it to you.
No, so, you're sharing facts.
So we got to be real careful. And even with that, like, we don't even understand the importance of what it means to be black because we've diminished that to the point where we're scared of it because they told you to be scared of it. But James Brown tried to tell y'all, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud.
Right.
Now y'all afraid to be black because anybody who's black gets killed by the cops. Anybody who speaks up winds up dead or has a brain aneurysm or something. Like, y'all are scared. Y'all are scared of black people and you're scared of white people. You're scared of everybody.
And it's getting to the point now, Dave. It's like, okay, we're not black. If we call ourselves Moors or Hebrew Israelites, that would give us some protection.
Yeah,
That
but see, there's a
you're
whole lot of
saying
Hebrew Israelites who ain't even Hebrews. How you Hebrew Israelite, but you go into you go into the West Jenkintown Baptist Church every Sunday? I'm confused.
now. Right.
Like that makes no sense to me. And yeah, you could call yourself Moorish. That's fine, but what do you really mean though? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you
Right.
just saying that because it's cool? And then do you understand who was Moorish and who wasn't? Like y'all so dumb. Y'all let them claim Santa Claus. So you worship in a Coke bottle and not really even realize that Saint Nicholas was actually black.
Uh-huh.
Y'all don't even realize that those little teeny tiny white elves that you put on the shelf for your little kids, that comes from Swarter Pete, and Swarter Pete was black. So y'all just keep getting jacked and don't even realize you're jacked. I got a prediction for you. Mark this down. This is going to be a very pivotal moment. Are you
I'm
ready?
writing it down. Go ahead. I'm writing it down. Go ahead.
I'm 40. So in the next 20 years, which means by the time my daughter's about 38, it is going to look weird to see black people rapping.
Okay. Let me jump in. Rap music is going to be transformed like reggae music. Like the top
Yeah,
reggae artists are white now.
of course. Of course. See, again, name a black owned record company. I'll wait.
There's a record company in Sacramento called Black Market Records.
Yeah, okay. That's a record label. Stop. They ain't putting up no money. They don't have no music production. Stop, bro. Stop.
I'm just saying. I just had to throw it out there.
Hmm. Now there's somebody right now probably in your chat room saying, "Oh well, what about Bad Boy and what about
Well, but they're not distributed. There's no black owned
exactly
distribution.
right because those are labels just like a book. Book publishers have imprints. And an imprint is not a publishing company. It's just an imprint on a publishing company. So all of them can be traced back to one of six people.
Right.
And once you understand that, then you'll realize, well, if one of six people, it can be traced back to any of these quote unquote black record labels, and all of those people have somebody who is called a boss, and that boss doesn't look like you, and that boss ultimately has say so as to who gets signed and who gets pushed and who gets the budget, then who's really controlling black culture?
Right. Hey, Dave, I want to really build on this building the hood as far as the brain drain, as far as black people with money or who are educated who leave the hood and don't come back. I know a lot of people, Jay Morrison and some other people have been really speaking on black people buying up the hood and not leaving. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, see, the whole buy back the block thing, it amuses me.
Go ahead.
I think it's cute. I think it's nice, but if I buy something up and the mentality is still there, just because I own it doesn't mean that I have changed the mentality of the people who are still there.
Right.
And so until there is some serious psychological healing and some training and some abilities to start developing the conscious minds of those individuals, it's a wasted effort because there's been plenty of us who have bought property in the hood. Buying the hood don't mean nothing. You know what? Get me to here's the thing, right?
But
I can come into the hood and buy a property. You can come up to the hood and buy property. White folks can come in the hood and buy property. But why is it we can't buy property in Chinatown?
because it's unlocked for the most part,
And, and why is it on lock?
because the Chinese got it unlocked
And why does the Chinese have it on lock?
because they don't want to integrate it with anybody else.
And why don't they want to integrate with anybody else?
Chinese supremacy.
Because they have a
Keep it
community.
Chinese.
They have a
Right.
community. They have a
Correct.
community. And you're not infiltrating it. But what do? We gave up the hair industry. We gave up the music industry. You can buy back the block all you want to. But what are you putting in? What are you putting in those people that are going to allow those people to flourish and understand what it is to cherish and protect it? You know, like in Philadelphia, there is my alma mater. It's called Temple University.
Mhm.
They're buying up the hood left and right.
That's everywhere.
They're,
It's crazy that because here in Atlanta, Georgia State is buying up the hood left and right.
mm-hmm, because it's cheap. They can get it, and they know that if those people start protesting, which they always do, oh, don't buy my home, da 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 da. But you leave your places in squalor. You
Right.
let these folks run around here. You're in fair. You got, you know, got, listen, man, one of the best security, easy sell. $40 to make sure that your stuff is safe, and we'll call the cops. Yeah, sign me up every day. And that was the thing. So, it would cost them $40, but I get $150 for every install.
Uh-huh.
Do the math. And that's the thing. If I create a system of fear and I tell you that stay out of this area and stay out of that area, then I can come in and buy that area and turn into something else. I left Philadelphia in the early part of 2000, late part of 99. And when I came back, Philadelphia had new sections like Northern Liberties. I was like, what is Northern Liberties? Where do I find that? They had all these subsections of places that used to be the hood,
Mhm.
you know, and now it's cool to live there. And then every once in a while, you'll hear some story about somebody who is not black getting jacked by somebody who is. And it's just like, yeah, see, because y'all built up the hood, but you didn't build into the hood. And that's the thing. We're not taking care of the psychological and the heart portion of things. Then you also have to look at the resource part of it. You can buy all the properties you want to. If you're not putting any resources in there, you know, you're not doing anything. And please miss me with the whole, oh, well, Rick Ross bought Wingstop. Okay, Rick Ross bought several Wingstop franchises,
Right.
but somebody's still getting a cut of that bread who ain't us. And so you can say you buying back the hood one lemon pepper flat at a time, but the truth of the matter is you're not, homie. You're not. You're just taking advantage of some folks who want to eat. That's all. Who don't like a good wing? They Cajun wings is banging too. Everybody talk about lemon pepper Cajun is delicious. But
Really?
oh god, it's delicious. Heartburn. I can't really mess with it too often. But like we gotta dig deeper, man. This surface stuff is corny to me. It's real corny to me. So I mean, like, what's the plan though? We're just gonna buy it up and then what? What resources are we putting into it?
Right. Okay. What about how do you
How we
feel
heal
about
those people? I'm sorry, what I feel
how,
about what?
how do you feel about somebody brought up Dr. Claude Anderson?
Dr. Claude Anderson.
Okay. Do you think his plan Powernomics, do you think that's something that's viable that could work in the black community?
Well, yeah, I do think it could work. Unfortunately, you still got to deal with the mindset.
Right.
And listen, if Dr. Claude Anderson was as celebrated or as publicized as a Kanye West who gets an hour on a Jewish man's program to rant and rave and tell black people that slavery was a choice to the point where millions of Facebook pages are saying Kanye was right, slavery was a choice. I don't know nobody who signed up to get whipped. Watch their
No.
wife get raped, watch their families get torn apart, watch their language get taken from them, survive the Middle Passage, have urine on their mouths, get hobbled and tortured and hung, made to breastfeed white children off of one breast and couldn't feed their children on the other. So yeah, I don't know anybody who chose that. No Jew has ever said. I know plenty of Jewish people. I've never heard a Jew say, Jewish people, chose the Holocaust. They chose the gas chambers. Like no, so if Claude Anderson had that kind of notoriety, then yeah. But the thing of it is, nobody wants to hear the solution because the solution's always been there. It's like this, right?
Go ahead.
I'm going to prove to you right now that people don't want the solution, especially black folks. You ready? Here it is.
I'm ready.
Do you feel like drinking and driving is dangerous?
Of course.
Do you feel like smoking cigarettes is dangerous?
Of course.
Okay. Do you feel like eating a high saturated fat diet is dangerous?
Absolutely.
Okay. So why are there still fat people like myself? Why are there still people who are smoking 2, 3 packs a day? And why are there people who are still getting wasted on the weekends and driving in their cars? Because we know all those things.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Doc's been doing this longer than I'm alive, and I love the man, and I think he's a brilliant individual. But we don't want the solutions because if we want the solution, see, we want the solution, but we don't want execution. We don't want to have to do the work. We want somebody else to do it. We thought that in '08, when we put Obama in office, that he was going to do the work. But again, he's African American, he ain't black. So the work didn't get done.
Right.
And we didn't tell him to do anything. We didn't force him to do anything. So who's going to force people to execute Dr. Claude Anderson's plan? I'll wait.
I don't know.
Exactly. Nobody. Because nobody wants to do that. They just want to sit around and complain. Look, black people effectively are like dogs sitting on a nail. The dog will sit on the nail and moan and groan about the nail, but won't do anything to get up off of it. She'll just sit there moaning and groaning. It's like, well, why won't he get up off the nail? Well, he'd rather just sit there and just deal with it.
Goodness. Somebody's asking a question in the chat room. So, what's a perfect, or what's an example of a functioning Black community or economy that we could look to as far as an example, if you know
Hmm,
of any?
that is a great question.
Somebody brought up DeSoto,
Um,
Texas.
DeSoto's dope. I used to live out in on the Dallas Fort Worth area. DeSoto's dope. Would I go as far as to say it's just a thriving now? Um, I think that what we need to do is start living a little bit more unapologetically. Like I love Black Wall Street, but people don't like to talk about Black Wall Street because when you talk about Black Wall Street, then you got to say, oh well, white folks came in there and they bombed Black Wall Street and they tore. Da, 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 da. First
Right,
things first. What we need to do is if we're going to get into a Black community, what we need to do is if we're going to really talk about a Black community, how about we have what everybody else in the world has, a community that elects itself, polices itself, and financially takes care of itself. But even with me, like I've had events and I've had opportunities that would have been great for Black banks, but a lot of these Black owned banks, they don't call you back, or they have an issue, or if you're not Killer Mike, they don't think that you're big enough for them, because just because a Negro has a bank doesn't mean he's not a Negro.
right.
That
Mm,
mentality is there. So I think structurally, meaning that if you're going to buy the hood, great, have a Black bank, have a Black police force, have a Black city council. But see, we won't do that because we want everybody to be included. We're always looking to break barriers and have inclusion.
right.
Breaking barriers and having inclusion have been the things that have destroyed Black folks.
A black and brown coalition. Color.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The Black and Brown Coalition, which is a falsehood,
Mhm.
because most of those brown people don't even realize that they're actually Black, but because they've got the right complexion, i.e., Dominicans versus Haitians,
Right.
you have a bunch of hoity-toity house versus field Negro mentalities.
Right.
Then when you look at what's happening with the electorate, we don't really have our stuff represented. We don't do anything beyond that. So I would say, in an ideal world, I mean, Farrakhan laid this stuff out years ago. Elijah Muhammad laid this stuff out years ago. Dr. Anderson laid this stuff out years ago. And y'all can say what y'all want to say about Farrakhan, but when the last time you heard of a Nation of Islam person getting in trouble?
Dude, you, it seems like when they leave the Nation of Islam, they get in trouble.
Right, but when they're in the nation, they don't get in trouble, and they can disarm
Right.
people without weapons. See, we don't know how to fight, we don't know how to fish, we don't know how to hunt. We don't know how to take care of ourselves.
Mm.
My grandmother grew up on a farm. My maternal grandfather was the son of a sharecropper who was the son of a slave. So he understood the importance of farming the land. Like I understand those things are in me, but it's something that I particularly want to do now. But I have no problem in putting up bread and making some things happen. There's even a community right now that's trying to be developed in Florida, just outside of Orlando. A few friends of mine are trying to develop a community. See, but folks don't want to move, they don't want to leave their comfort, they don't want to sacrifice everything. We like instant gratification. That's why we'll take the Jordans over buying the shoe factory.
Right.
So yeah,
Now,
you know.
you brought up building a community, our own
Mhm.
communities, and of course the objection now is, well, look at Black Wall Street, look at Rosewood. Every time we build something, white folks come and tear it down. What are your thoughts on that objection? And then when of course, when this objection comes up, then the solution a lot of people give is, how about we relocate either to Africa or to places like Belize? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so those are two questions. So I'll take each one of them. The first one is, Black Wall Street happens, white folks tear it down. Rosewood happens, white folks tear it down. Um, and this is the only time I'll say this, and I mean it wholeheartedly.
Go ahead.
White folks tear it down because they don't fear any repercussions. If you knew for a fact that if you punched me in the face, I'd slit your throat, you think twice before balling your fist up, would you not?
Right.
No one has a healthy fear of us because they feel like they hold all the cards. But here's the thing, right? The reason that, do you know why Black people are in America?
Yeah, I mean we were captured, we were
Before
sold.
that, rewind. Before that,
before.
What was the thing that led them to come all the way across the world to come get us? What happened before black people were enslaved and came over here? How did we get here? What was the thing that happened that failed that happened before black people got here?
I mean, we
Native
could say
Americans,
try.
Native Americans, or indigenous people, whatever you like to call them this week, Native
Yeah,
Americans was like, oh, first of all, y'all bringing over here these diseases, so those are killing us. Second of all, we tried to smoke them peace pipe, but y'all trying to act extra. Y'all trying to enslave us. We gonna scalp you.
right,
So white folks got sick of being scalped, and they went over to Africa and they started yanking us up. Because we have a different mentality, and
right,
we can talk about how some tribes took over other tribes in order to get their land, but we also leave out the part that some tribes took over other tribes in order to give the white folks slaves so that the white folks would then not turn around and enslave them. And then white folks were also trading guns for slaves so that they could have protection from the white folks in the first place. That's psychologically jacked up, but this is the vicious cycle we've been on for over 400 years. So, if in fact you knew good and well that for everything you do, I'm going to do 10 times worse, you think twice before coming up in my spot.
right.
That's what I tell people. I don't hide from nobody. You come this way. Come on. I believe in the Second Amendment. Come through. I'll take my chances because what's going to happen is you're going to cross my threshold, and I'm going to blow your brains out. And I'll send your mama some flowers, and I'll stand before the judge as a minister, a community leader, a public figure, best-selling author, and someone who hasn't committed so much of a crime beyond a speeding ticket.
Hmm.
So I'll take my chances. You'll be dead, but I'll take my chances. So if you want to come this way, you want to rob me, you want to do damage to me and my family, watch what happens to you. I will make you fear me for which for you to fear. But we don't do that. We want to say, can we all just get along?
Right.
Can't we just? I'll take $1. Y'all's just gonna put some money into the community to help entrepreneurs. I was gonna like that real much. This right here is not a blackout problem. This ain't a Starbucks problem. This a people problem.
Right.
So until you get the coon mentality out and stop being so afraid that white folks are going to take your stuff, then white folks ain't got to worry about it. See, once I control your mind, I ain't got to worry about what your ass will do. And that's how mind control works. That's why that question is made up from a place of fear. That question comes from a place of mind control, a way to destroy stuff before. So if a hurricane comes through to your house and it's your only house, like I just finished paying off my house. So if a hurricane comes through and knocks out my windows and tears the top floor of my house off, am I not going to rebuild? Or am I just stand there with a hole there? Or
Right.
am I just move someplace else and let somebody else deal with it? Do you sound how stupid that sounds?
Sounds
Just
real
paid off
stupid.
my house. It sounds real stupid, doesn't it? But
Huh.
that's what we do. And we did that not because we didn't have the resources, not because we weren't insured, but we were afraid. But black people
Mm.
so damn religious. What happened to fear not? Lean not onto your own understanding, but in all way acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. What happened to that? Oh,
Right.
that went out the window when things got real. See, and that's what I'm saying. Black folks don't they're not willing to listen. Black folks can't give up lattes. What makes you think they're going to sacrifice their lives in order to protect their land?
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
So yeah, you can miss me with that. Now the second part was something else because we talked about
It was the well, why not relocate to just
oh,
outside
Africa.
of America?
Yeah. Let's talk about going back to Africa, shall we? Garvey tried that. They told him no. Then you had some slaves who went back over to Liberia. Hey, how's Liberia doing these days?
That's a whole nother discussion, but it's not doing good. But I mean, we could get into why
Yeah, I mean,
it's
we can
not
definitely
doing
get into
well.
why, but
Okay,
it's
the why is, I mean, the American Liberia was doing great until Samuel Doe and the indigenous population decided to carry out a coup
yep,
out of jealousy. So
yeah. So when folks are out there carrying out coups and you don't have any real, you don't have any real loyalty because, like I tell people all the time, y'all can miss me with all this back to Africa stuff because last I checked, and maybe I'm reading the wrong history books, but I'm waiting for the African warships that came to free my people when we were shackled and in bondage. I missed those ships. Did they come for us? Because I damn sure remember the Japanese coming for the Japanese Americans who were interned illegally against their wills because of World War II. I remember that. You know,
Mhm.
I remember Jewish people, having petitioning and begging for coalitions of the world to come set them free when a madman named Hitler came and took over. But I just don't remember African warships coming from the motherland to come save us. Did I miss it? Did
Nah,
that happen?
nah, we didn't miss it. I can't I can't disagree with you.
Yeah. So no. How about you fix the home that you got and actually take onus of the property? Like say what you want, and I have a lot of issues, but it's my home. It's the only home I've ever known. I do know the laws. I do know my rights, and I don't have an issue getting myself in a position to do everything I can to benefit and enforce those rights. But we don't want to do that. Like, I mean, it goes right back to Claude Anderson and Powernomics. We don't want to do
Mhm.
that. Why do we have to move out of the country? If anybody should move out of the country, it should be the people who stole it. But we know that's not
Mhm.
going to happen now, is it?
Right.
And you
No,
need to
you're
go
right.
ahead and pick up, and you need to pick up before the Mayflower by
You got,
Jerome
you
Bettis.
got to, brother Anderson, you got to repeat that again. You just said something powerful.
What I said was I don't see if anybody needs to leave this country, it needs to be the people who originally stole it. But I don't see that happening either. And we need to read Before the Mayflower by Lee Rome Bennett. We need to read They Came Before Columbus. Like we were the original explorers. We were the original, people. Like we went out first. Not to sound like Ray J, but we hit it first. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like we got to start. But because we don't know who we are, and other people know our history better than we do, we get the game messed up. We will sit around here and Da Vinci. We'll sit around here and Galileo. We'll sit around here and praise Caesar. But nobody talks about Hannibal. Nobody talks about the people who were teaching, the Africans who were teaching, Da Vinci. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we don't know who we are. Keep it hidden from us. Because we don't know our stuff. And now, if you go to Texas, speaking of DeSoto so daggone whitewashed and so damn extra. They allow school districts in the DFW area, including DeSoto, to try and um, take the term slavery out of history books.
Right.
So yeah, you can miss me with that too. So yeah, I'm not here to go back to Africa. I love Africa. I think it's a beautiful continent. I love our people. I think we're so beautiful. But no, I'm an American, and damn it, I'm look. I'm gonna get my rights. I'm gonna get everything that I want to. And Johnny Cochran was trying to sue for 40 acres and a mule for everybody until they killed him.
Right.
But that's a conversation for another day.
So somebody in the chat was saying, well, with all due respect, Africa did not have the capacity to come rescue you with warships. Well,
Yeah, I get that, but here's the thing, right?
uh-huh.
Africa had the capacity to explore and go to Asia. That's where the samurai come from. The samurai started in Africa. Africa had the capacity to trade with the southern part of Asia, better known as India.
Right.
They had the capacity to send the world. So yeah, if they really and they thought that it would be an advantageous situation, they could have. And I don't know if you know this or not. We built the pyramids. Don't talk to me about ingenuity and tell me what we couldn't do, because it wasn't a matter of finances. It was a place of rich natural resources. Between the 1400s and the 1600s, we still have plenty of rich natural resources. So yeah, tell me again how we couldn't do it versus we didn't do it.
No, you're correct. Now and
I mean, just hit me with like my whole thing is Google what I'm saying. If I'm not if I'm wrong, I will eat crow and apologize. But I'm not wrong. Africa wasn't decimated to the point where it became the country with the kids with the fat bellies and flies in their eyes,
you're correct.
until around the 1800s. So what happened between 1492 and 1861? Tell me.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I'll say this: there's actually written accounts by Europeans who came to Africa on how Africa was before it was decimated. So you're absolutely right.
Right. And then, I mean, there were always his fortune just disappeared when he died. Like, why do we like to try and romanticize it? Like everybody's walking around, and this is why you need to go to Africa, because everybody ain't walking around with bones through their nose, sitting in huts having grass skirts and going like you see in a Tarzan film. That's not how we got here. That's why y'all love Tarzan so daggone much. A baby crashed on a daggone ship, and he winds up being king of the jungle. These Africans been living in nature with these animals since the beginning of time, but they can't communicate with like. Think about it. Think about it, man. Well, they didn't have the capacity. Okay, how? Just tell me how. How didn't they?
No, you're on point. Let's see here. Dang, that was another question I want to ask you. Okay, so the idea of building here,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your rights,
Mm-hmm.
not leaving because we're already here. People in this chat room are saying, well, I mean, we're still treated as second class citizens.
We allow that.
So
That part we
okay,
allow. Let me break it down. And you stop me when I go wrong. Politically speaking, 90%, 90 between 90 and 90%, 96% of voting Black Americans vote which party?
Democrat,
Why?
because that's what we're told to.
Exactly. Tradition. Like Fiddler on the
Right.
Roof. Tradition. Tradition. If I asked you right now, I said I give you $10,000, you give me Hillary Clinton's agenda, you couldn't do it off the top of your head without resorting to a Google search.
Of course.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna break this down for you. If you look at the Asian American community, that is to include the Japanese, the Vietnamese, the Filipino, the Indian Americans, all of them have people representative of them on both sides of the aisle. I'll continue. The Jews have people representative of them on both sides of the aisle. Okay. Native Africans who are African American who come here have people representing them on both sides of the aisle. Let's see, who am I missing? Who am I missing? Oh, the Poles, the Swedes, the Irish, the Roman Catholics, the LGBTQ community, the Hispanic community have people on both. And for those of you who want to challenge me about the LGBTQ community, explain Bruce, I mean Caitlyn Jenner, and then we'll have a conversation. Black people vote with their emotions and they never cut a check. And the reason that we're able to be so ransacked is because the Republicans ain't going to bother because we're so in bed with the Democrats and we can't be moved by anything that they say, even though Rand Paul had a better plan to rebuild Black America and have funds allocated towards specific Black owned businesses than Hillary Clinton and Obama and Bill Clinton did combined. But y'all didn't read that platform. Y'all didn't get that agenda because y'all are so caught up in, oh, Hillary got hot sauce in her bag. I was going to go vote for Miss Hillary. Even though Hillary was a Goldwater girl, which means that she was a Republican from the time that she was born up until the time that she met Smiling Old Bubble, better known as Bill Clinton, he was the governor of Arkansas.
Right.
So if anything, he was a blue dog Democrat at best. But because he played saxophone and he was smart enough to get on Arsenio to get the tertiary votes nobody else would, it's the same strategy Trump used by going to the rednecks and the racists and the white supremacists. Same exact strategy. Trump just reversed it. When you don't have representation on both sides of the aisle, you can't demand a damn thing. When you don't cut a check, because 80% of all Black Americans who are of voting age do not contribute financially to any election. With the exception of the Obama election, which is an anomaly in political history for Black people, there were no donations any way you slice it. And then even after, let's just say everybody did donate. Even after you donate, y'all don't do anything. Name me 3 Black political action committees. I'll wait.
Would the Black Caucus be considered one?
Congressional Black Caucus is a product of Congress. They bought and sold, and they're all Democrats. That is not a political action committee.
Hey,
Citizens for a Better Black America would be one, but that's not one. I just made it up off the top of my head. That's what a PAC is. It's a political action committee.
Okay.
It is, hey, we're paying you this money, so now we demand this, this, and that. By the way, tell me what the Black agenda is, and then talk to me about how we don't allow these things to happen to us. Because I guarantee you, when I was working, before I retired from radio, when I was working at a radio station, some Asian kids in South Philadelphia were getting beat up and terrorized. Immediately, there was a press conference. Immediately, there were 3 or 4 different organizations that came out. Immediately, the mayor had to say something, the school board, the state senate, everybody came through. You want to know why? Community and protection and representation on both sides of the aisle.
Wow.
So, there's that.
All right. Somebody, Marcus is asking, how are the Jews able to run the entertainment business, and if that strategy can be applied by Blacks in another arena?
They're able to run it because they don't let anybody else in and they control everything. Secondly, we can do that, but see, y'all don't
each
believe
other.
in grassroots so much. It's not even liking each other.
Right. True.
Y'all want to be the best of the best of the best, but y'all won't eat. See, the difference between me and you, and when I say you, I don't mean you, Dynast, obviously, but I mean whoever's listening to me. Me versus Black America is y'all weren't there when I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning getting donuts. Y'all weren't there making Wendy Williams tea and getting her bagels. Y'all wasn't there for none of that. Y'all wouldn't dare do that because you don't ever want to come from a service mindset and then work your way up in order to build something so that you then become iconic over a period of time. You're not willing to sacrifice 20 years in order to get to where you need to be. You're not willing to take a job and then take that money and funnel it into something. You're not willing to look into a Roth IRA. You're not willing to build your finances up. You're not willing to do what you need to do in order to fix your credit. Because you'd rather
Mm.
have, you just got to have the PS4 with the Spider-Man action pack. You would rather have that than have any real growth. So yeah, that's it. I know, I know. It's horrible, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I'm writing a comment in the chat room right now. It's just I really feel like some people are being overly sensitive. So
Oh, I'm
you
so
guys.
sorry. If you're being like Ralph Chesman after an orgasm, then I must be hitting you. A hit dog will holler every time.
All right, let's see here. Anybody else
Spelled
have any
wrong.
questions in the chat room? Oh, here we go. Integration. What are your honest thoughts on integration in regards to the Black economy?
Worst thing that ever happened to Black America. Next question.
Okay.
Here's the difference. Like, I'm not being funny. I'm not dismissing your
No,
question.
no,
I'm being
no,
an
no,
asshole. But
no. Please. You're good.
let me break this down. My aunt was probably the main caretaker of my grandmother, and she had a college reunion weekend, and so I wound up taking care of my grandmother that weekend, and I got an education in that weekend that literally changed the course of my life. And she said, David, do you know that every one of your aunts and uncles, with the exception of your mother, was born in black hospitals to black doctors? I said, what's a black hospital? She said, "Oh no. When we had a black community, we had a black community. We had black doctors and black lawyers and black architects and black mechanics and black dentists and black hospitals with black doctors. And all my children went out there, started marching and getting dogs sicked on them and hoses turned on them. And I told them it was stupid then. And now look, everybody got everything, but we just got the hood,
Mm.
and don't nobody want it. And so um, it's a problematic situation because we don't look at the fact that what do we get from integration? Name me one benefit of integration.
Uh,
Just give me one so I can
uh,
shoot it down. Please give me something creative. Please, I mean, reach for it.
we if it wasn't for integration, brothers wouldn't be in the NBA or the NFL. I don't know.
Yeah, but who did that benefit? Because last I checked, I mean, there's what? There's two black owners in the NFL. Two black owners in the NBA. There's none in the NFL.
Right.
So
And,
like that's what I'm saying.
here's
We celebrate breaking barriers, but they're not really barriers.
here's
It's
one
just an
for
excuse
you.
to
Here's
flip
one
money.
for you. For my swirling crew, it's easier to access black vagina with integration. That's what people will tell you. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. Like, there's no that's not a benefit for me. That's a
I know.
situation
I'm
where
just
no, I
saying.
know you are, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I guess OJ benefited from integration. You know,
Yep.
and I can't even
Mm-hmm.
put that on Michael Jackson because if you only knew the fights that Michael Jackson was fighting, trying to get people to play his music, on different stations. Oh,
Couple more
yeah.
questions. Somebody said in the chat room a statement that black people don't like to handle the can't handle the harsh
It's
truth.
on.
What is that?
Hey, hold that thought 1 second. I'm gonna answer that.
Go ahead. No problem. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Here we
Please
go.
get the likes up as you come to the chat room. Everybody, please get the likes up.
Yeah. Here we go. Um, repeat the question one more time. I want to make sure I get it right.
So somebody made the statement in the chat room that black people don't, I guess, like to confront the truth or deal with the truth. Um,
No, no, we don't. The truth is ugly, and the truth doesn't see as good as it gets. Starring Jack Nicholson. The woman comes up to Jack Nicholson, who's a writer, and he writes like women's romance novels and whatnot. And they say to him, well, how is it you're able to write a woman so well? And he says, I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability. and we don't have reason and accountability. We do feelings. We're a feelings people. We're a heart centered people. And while that's a beautiful thing when it comes to nurturing your children, it's a horrible practice when it comes to business and nation building. And we're completely too sensitive. We're more sensitive than Ralph Tresvant after an orgasm. Like, we are completely, when it comes to criticism, can't nobody say nothing. Everybody's the greatest. Oh God, don't you dare say nothing about Hillary. Don't you dare say nothing about Barack. Don't you dare say nothing about this one and the other. I'm trying to get my charger in case I don't in case I cut out. But yeah, man, you be draining my battery, bro.
Nah, because the
If that's the case.
conversations are good, man. I mean, people need to hear this. How do you feel since we're speaking on the black economy? How do you feel about reparations? That's something that we might see, or is that a pipe dream, or just a dream in general?
Well, no, we'll definitely not see it because folks don't want to fight for it, and then
Right.
because enough people have planted the seed that it's divisive. Like Bernie Sanders told black folks that reparations was divisive, and then Bernie Sanders turned around and voted for reparations from World War II for his own people when America didn't cause World War II. We won it.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, all these people that you think are so cool ain't even that cool. Because if they were that cool, they would understand justice for people more than this themselves.
And then
You know.
somebody was asking, like, as far as you as an individual, is there any type of initiatives you're putting together? In fact, I know you have Black Boys Win or
Yep.
any other type of you're putting together to help, in regards to solutions to what we're discussing, as far as helping with black in entrepreneurship and building a black economy. Brother Anderson, you still there? I think we might have lost him. Hope the phone didn't hope his phone didn't cut out. But if it did, everybody thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. Let me go ahead and drop Brother Anderson's link to his sites in the chat room. Make sure you guys go to businessbullyshow.com. Businessbullyshow.com. Let me go ahead and drop that in there. So guys, make sure you go and visit and enroll. And also please reach out to Brother Anderson on Facebook. He does reply back rather quickly. And then also make sure you go to Black Boys Win as well, which is another site, another initiative of Brother Anderson as well. So let me put this in the chat room as well. So make sure you guys go there and visit and contribute as well. So I know Brother Anderson has a lot of initiatives that he's pushing. I also know he's very busy, so it's a blessing to get him on our platform and chop it up for a good hour. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll go ahead and wait a couple more minutes to see if he comes back out. I'll reach out to Dame Dash too. I'll try to reach out to him as well.
Here I am.
Oh, perfect. Okay, we got you back. We got aliens came and got you.
No, just that 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 battery drain.
Okay. All right, no problem. So where were we at? Yeah. So your initiatives that you have yourself, to help with the community as far as the issues to address the issues that we're speaking of. If you want to go into detail as far as Black Boys Win and the Business Bully, the floor is yours.
All right, definitely. With Black Boys Win, it's now I can kind of speak a little bit better. Black Boys Win for me is such an uphill climb because people don't get it, and the hardest thing about doing something like this is that people don't get it. They'll get it in 5 years, but right now it's so foreign to them because here's what's happening. The American education system is not built for African Americans or Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Covering everybody. The Moors, it's not built for y'all either. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if I asked you right now, you know, um, how many muscles are in a monkey sphincter, you couldn't tell me. So you just lost. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Yeah, that's a real question. Um, like none of that stuff is going to help anybody. Like, there's no courses on balancing a checkbook. There's no courses on finding your inner strength. There's no courses on respecting women and having self-respect. There's no courses on leadership. I mean, real leadership. There's no courses on entrepreneurship. And I mean, yeah, Boyce Watkins has some stuff, but he works for a Chinese man. So can you trust that? I don't think so.
Right.
So, and I'm not shading the man, but I mean, I could tell you stories about Boyce and how he acts towards real black people versus, how he acts when he's on that camera.
Right.
Did I ever tell you what happened with me and Boyce Watkins?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is yours. We'd love to
Okay.
hear it. Go
All
ahead.
right. So, real rap. A couple years ago, one of his colleagues had wanted me to do an interview for his black business school or something he was doing, and I did it happily. This
Mhm.
was like right at the crux of what you would consider the Dave Anderson success story, and I was happy to do it. So once my podcast started popping, like 2015, 2016, I reached out to that young lady, because I knew she had a direct in with Boyce,
Mhm.
and just to ask for an interview. At this point, I'd done the Breakfast Club pitch, close up, sell, repeat, sold unknown hundreds of thousands of copies. You know, um, I'd done CNN, all that other good stuff, and so it wasn't like I was somebody who was just coming off the radar, some dumb stuff, right? Like, I've done the Breakfast Club just about as many, if not more times than Boyce. So what I was told from his representative was, oh well, he wants $800. I said, he wants $800 for what? Oh, for his hour. For his hour. Well, that's what he charges. I'm like, oh, for real? Because I called Charlamagne, he didn't charge him a damn thing to come on the Breakfast Club. So
Wow.
why is he trying to charge me? Well, because that's what he values your time for, and he don't know you. Oh, he doesn't know me. Donis, do you have any idea how many interviews I've done from people I don't know?
I mean, you're low key doing one right now. I
There you
mean,
go. I mean,
we done business before, but
yeah, but we never share the same air.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm not so high on myself, whereas though I'm gonna try and charge somebody for an interview. Like, I've never charged anybody for an interview. Never. Coaching, yes. Consulting, yes. An interview, no. But I have an audience that could lead me to a $100,000 deal. Like, I don't operate from that place. And so, I had a client of mine, fast forward about a year. So, yo, I'm about to see Boyce Watkins. I'm like, yo, I really want to get Boyce on the show, but Boyce is trying to charge me. Da, 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 da. He's like, well, I'm gonna meet with Boyce. I'm gonna see him, so let him know what's what. So she talks to him, and then I get an email that I'm supposed to send for a request. So I send an email from request, no answer. So somebody else reaches out to Boyce, no response. So then I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So then one of my other dudes I meet with, who I did an interview on his show, and we've done some great things together. We were talking, and he was like, yo, you need to hook up with Boyce, man, because the stuff you're saying and stuff Boyce is saying. I'm like, all right, bet, no problem, let's talk. I was like, but I'm gonna let you know right now. He gonna be like, it's $800. He's like, why would he charge you $800? I said, I don't know, but that's what he told his people. So, he was like, no, no, that's not it. That's not true. And then he said, well, the reason I didn't want to do his show is because I heard he bullies people out of their money. I'm like, what am I, Suge Knight? Am I holding people over their ankles to shit money out? Like, I mean, like, that's ridiculous. Like, the reason people call me the business bully is because I don't allow you to stand in your complacency. I don't allow you to subscribe to your excuses. But I'm never, put physical harm in order to get them to do business with me. I don't need to. I'm a really good salesman. And I kind of resented that remark because I figured somebody with a doctorate would have sense enough to do his own research. And to me, it just sounded like some horseshit. So then all of a sudden, when that interview surfaced on YouTube about the Chinese dude saying that Boyce was his pro-black character out to, tell people they need to protect themselves from the white man. Then all of a sudden, if you go back, go look through my profile pictures on Facebook. There's one where Boyce commented, said, "Yeah, anything you need, I got you." Da 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 da. So I hit him back. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'd love to have interviewer, love to have you donate to Black Boys Win." He didn't do either.
Wow.
So, I can't trust you because it only seemed like right after the heat started coming at you because you work for a Chinese man and you're his pro-black, you know, um, community character, as he
Mm.
put it, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something along the lines of that, and he did use the word character and referring to a man with a doctorate.
For the most
Um,
part.
I can't trust your motives. I just think that your behavior, not you, not
Mhm.
your stuff, but your behavior to me just might be a little bit suspect. And I can't trust that. So Black Boys Win is something where we're teaching folks, online, just like EDX, which is a place where you can get college level courses to, enhance your mind and do what you need to do. So it's kind of like that. It's not an accredited situation because you can't really accredit, you can't give accreditation to self respect or um, my particular sales techniques. Or if you want to learn how to build a podcast, if you learn how to build a business from scratch, that's what Black Boys Win is. It's specifically, geared towards Black boys. So between that and then just the Business Bully LLC, I'm always trying to help build Black businesses because if there's enough Black businesses out here thriving and flourishing, then we can actually make some moves. But we can't cut no checks if there's nothing in the coffers.
Right.
And so those are my two main concentrations right now. And I started Black Boys One because people are like, well, why didn't you do Black Girls One? I'm like, because my friend Beverly Bond has something called Black Girls Rock, and that's heralded. But when you talk about Black boys, people are like, oh no, we can't do that. That's divisive. Da 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 da. Because there's something about the prowess and the power of a Black man that's educated
Yeah,
that
so I
scares the
think
hell
you
out of
don't
people.
get that. You don't really get that objection when it comes to dealing with the Black community. As far as if you're uplifting Black boys, people have an issue with it or
Hmm.
feel threatened. But Black girls, it's like
Hmm.
it's different. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
only. That's
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
go back and look at my second Breakfast Club interview. I told it to their faces. I said, black boys are told to get a haircut and pull their pants up. I said that's why I don't rock with Steve Perry. That's why I can't rock with Steve Harvey because getting somebody up, in your little ranch for a weekend and having them do push-ups and having them cut their hair isn't changing anything. All you're doing is teaching conformity, and that's not the answer. The answer is to embrace creativity and finding a way to monetize it. That's what we need to do. And so I'm not here for that conformity talk. I'm not here for your traditional take. Like, just because you put a black face on an educational product doesn't make it geared towards Black people. Everything I do comes from a Black perspective because that's all that I know. But I'm not going to waste your time with Orion's belt. I'm not going to waste your time with chlorofluorocarbon.
Mm,
This is what a check looks like. This is how you write a check. This is how you open a banking account. This is what a Roth IRA is. Like, those are things that are important. This is how you structure your YouTube channel. This is how you make a Facebook post go viral. Those are things that are useful, especially when you're talking about a group that is born with an iPad or an iPhone in their hands. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. Come with folks with this old school. Oh, well, you just wear a suit and tie, brother. And then now everybody, my daddy wore a suit and tie, and I tell people right now, we's gonna get these boys some suits and some ties, and they still gonna get pulled over. They're still gonna get killed by the cops. They're still gonna experience systematic white supremacy, and they're still not gonna have a proper sense of self. So Black Boys Win is so important. And I always tell people, like, please donate. It ain't about me. It's about, these young Black boys. And if you know Black boys who are, looking for something to do, something to grow their passions and find a way to, keep them um, in a good, positive mental state. And I don't want to say keep boys out of trouble because our default is not trouble.
right.
You know, our default is we're born into a system that hates us. So that's why I created Black Boys Win, and I think that that's where we start. And I did it because 90% of my clients are single moms.
Mm.
So there's
Brother,
that.
yeah, absolutely, brother. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming back on. I mean, someone in the chat room said we need to have you on once a week, so I will be bugging you
I'm here.
sometime. Okay, well, there it is. There it is.
I'm here.
So,
I'll
we
make the
will,
time.
absolutely.
Couple things I just want, for
No,
people who
go
want
ahead.
to
Go
reach
ahead,
out to
brother.
me.
The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, for people who want to reach out to me, you can definitely email me, dave@businessbullyshow.com. I only have one request. Please go like to iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe and rate the Business Bully podcast. It's very important. Those ratings, and those comments, help boost the credibility and the the visibility of the show. And so, if you could check out the show, like, even if you hate it, just leave a 5-star review. I'll read it on the air. I don't care, but I need to get more eyes and ears, on the podcast. And if there's something that, I can do for you, if there's something that will allow you to be great, let me know. If you also want to sit down for me with me or my team for a discovery call so we can talk about what it is you're doing and how you're trying to grow your business, I'm all about that. I just want to see Black people win in the worst way. I really do because I love us, man. Like, I love my blackity black wife. I'm looking at my blackity black family right now. I just love being black. Black is so damn good, man. Black is everything. And I think we need to understand that and embrace that and be happy. But shout out to everybody in the chat room. I hope folks are enjoying it. Even if you don't necessarily agree with me, I hope that you can, Google and check the knowledge from there.
Absolutely. Brother Anderson, once again, thank you so much for coming on. And everybody, thank you again for joining us. Make sure you go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Also, go to africapersonified.africa, go to searchforwho.com, go to dynastymirror.com, and go to amazon.com. Search for Dynasty Mirror, please buy a book. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Brother Anderson will be back on sometime this week. And again, everyone, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And make sure you go to, reach out to Brother Anderson as well. And also go to iTunes and like and share his podcast and leave a 5-star review. We would really appreciate it. A brother like this that takes time out of his day on a Sunday to the value that he gave today. I mean, all he's asking for is a review. Please go and do that. We will really appreciate that. So once again, family, thank you so much. Till next time, peace.